Good morning, everyone, and welcome in for another episode of Kayfabe Coffee, the show that keeps it real while we pretend it's real. I'm your host this morning, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, the barista of broken kayfabe, if you will, pouring out hot takes stronger than a Starbucks shaken espresso. Welcome to Kayfabe Coffee here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. It is Tuesday morning. It is St. Patrick's Day. I'm not wearing my green, so don't fucking pinch me because we're not toddlers. But I already cussed in the first couple minutes per usual, so there goes the YouTube algorithm. So while you're here hanging out on YouTube, hit that subscribe button because we are actually now on the road to 400 subscribers over here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. Thank you guys for helping us reach 300 during AEW Revolution this past weekend. Like I always say, we nearly have an upload every single day here at the network. Things are evolving, things are changing, and we're growing over here. And as you can see, we're growing so much, I can't even keep up with the ticker down below because I said we're on the road to 300. That's not true. We're on the road to 400 now, thanks to all of you guys that tune in every single week. But I got my producer, Bert, from OTM in the chat. He said, Kayfabe Coffee? Maybe the name should be Kayfabe Coffee to incorporate your name. I don't know about that. I get where you're going. But the kayfabe also plays in the wrestling. And speaking of coffee, we got my French toast flavored coffee here from Blackout Coffee. I got some Starbucks creamer. Cheers. Good morning, everyone. Let's take a sip. That's what we need. A little warm coffee in the morning. That'll do you right. That was me commenting. Get to work to Brett. But hey, Eric, good morning. I'm doing great. It's good to see you as always. And you just found out what I was drinking right there. We actually do have some coffee in the mug this morning, so we're living the gimmick for once. I know I don't always have coffee, but I'm going to have coffee, and I'm going to have some pre-workout right after this because I got to squeeze in a tight workout before I go shopping because it seems as if my main television in my house has completely broken. Last night, I was trying to turn it on to watch Monday Night Raw. I have an Element TV. It's a Roku TV, and it just is completely black. Like, I move it around. I can hear myself moving between apps. I can click on things, but nothing is showing up on the screen. I don't know if anybody watching this live or anybody that might be watching on the playback might have a solution before I pull the trigger because I'm probably going to buy that TV today, so let me know in the next couple hours, but I've tried to troubleshoot it. I've unplugged it. I've held the remote for 30 seconds and did a hard reset on the TV. TV just showing nothing. So I might have to get myself a new 65-inch TV. White Monster has been activated. That's the perfect pick-me-up for when I'm actually working. I don't need to be working today. I mean, this is work technically. This is the real job, guys. I still am unemployed. So if you want to support us here at the network, the best way to do so is simply by following, 1, subscribing, 2, and checking out all of our merch at the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com. I think you'll see the website down below on the ticker. But we have Main Event Wrestling Network merch available over there. Hopefully we'll have a discount code up for you guys soon. I think we probably should. It's been some time, so we'll get a discount code on all that merch there. And make sure you're following the network at mainevent_net because, like I said, a lot going on these next couple weeks. So wrestling's just starting to pick up because we're on the road to WrestleMania. And also, shout out to the people watching on Twitch. We are now on Twitch. We usually got about 1 or 2 that are watching live. So welcome in to Kayfabe Coffee, episode 16. If this is your first time, thanks for stopping by. Leave a like and hit that subscribe button. No, I did watch Raw. So I have more than one TV. I have 3 TVs, actually, in my 1,000 square foot condo. I got 2 TVs right next to each other in the other room. I got a TV right in front of me here. That's where I use for gaming. But I just watched Raw on a smaller TV last night. I had my 65-inch, and I think I had my 45-inch. So I was watching Raw on a smaller screen. Which I'm getting older, so, my eyes aren't the greatest. So if I saw some things that you might not have saw on Raw, I apologize. I'm joking, by the way. Also, guys, later on tonight, another episode of NXT Night Shift. If you don't know what the Night Shift's all about, it's completely different than everything else we do here at the network. We're talking NXT every single week. 10 minutes after the show goes off the air. And to be fair, Brett, I don't think my eyes have ever been good. Yeah. I was wearing goggles, as you know, in travel baseball back in the day. I didn't wear any glasses during basketball. I might have dabbled in goggles in basketball, too, now that I think about it. But I know for sure in basketball I had a mouth guard because I had a concussion. So, I got injured a little bit when I was playing sports back in the day. But we could talk about sports all we want. But we're 7 minutes into Kayfabe Coffee here. And I know there's no rules and no structure, but I think I want to talk about Monday Night Raw because I really, really, really enjoyed last night's show. I'm not going to sit here and say it was the greatest show of the year because it wasn't. But it was a really good episode of Monday Night Raw that I felt really enhanced the storylines, really advanced the storylines, and gave us a more clear picture of what things are going to look like come WrestleMania 42 weekend. So let's start at the very top of the show. And it started very hot last night because, of course, Seth Rollins and the Masked Men, they kicked off Monday Night Raw per usual. If it's not Seth Rollins and the iteration of the Masked Men, it's probably going to be the Vision kicking off Monday Night Raw. That's just the formula they've been rolling with over the past couple months. But I don't know how I feel about all the Masked Men around Seth Rollins. I get it. It's supposed to be cheesy and annoying, but I don't want your babyface to have all those people backing him up. He should be able to stand on his own. But nonetheless, it seemed as if Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar were on a collision course going into WrestleMania because Rollins did start with the promo out there, said he's got his eyes set on the Vision. And, Paul Heyman was not too pleased with last week and how things went. He wasn't looking 100%, as you could see on your screen last night. Heyman was going through it, but he brought out the Beast. And the Beast came out, took care of business, took care of all the Masked Men, which, by the way, shout out to all the Masked Men and the indie talent working because you guys took some serious bumps for Brock Lesnar, which, man, that sucks. It's like, all right, I finally got extra work with WWE. Who am I working with tonight? Oh, yeah, you're working with Brock Lesnar. Yeah, I don't know how much money you could offer me to just say, oh, yeah, go take a suplex from Brock Lesnar. I'll give you $500. That's not enough money. That's not enough money for me. What did Brett say here? Shout out to Glove Man. Was he taking bumps out there too? I don't know. Was Glove Man out there, one of the Masked Men? I think he could have been. People are asking. Why is there 30 of them? It's a good question, Eric. Can you give me an answer? Because I don't know. I don't know why Seth Rollins needs 30 Masked Men. And yeah, I played travel baseball. Doesn't mean I was any good. I was a good defender. Eric, I was a catcher for 12 years, I think. I couldn't hit for shit. But, yeah, I still play competitive wiffle ball, as you know. We got shout out to the NWO. I actually have my wiffle ball draft on this Saturday, so that should be pretty fun. But, yeah, nonetheless, I thought it was going to be about Rollins and Brock Lesnar. But, boy, I was wrong because as Brock Lesnar clears through all the Masked Men, the lights go out. And I didn't know if that meant that Seth Rollins was going to use that gimmick going forward. That maybe since he's got all these Masked Men that he could just turn the lights off and disappear out of nowhere. And he's kind of like Retribution going forward. But no, that's not the reason the lights were turned off. Because I don't want to do it injustice by hitting the instrumentals here of Obafemi's music. But Obafemi's music hit. And you know how hard that goes. The crowd was into it. And we finally got the confrontation that myself and Jay Gold from NXT Night Shift have been telling you guys for months. It's literally been 3 months that we said their only matchup for Brock Lesnar at this year's WrestleMania has to be Obafemi. And it's going to be. We now know this is official. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar going down at WrestleMania 42. And in one segment, in 60 seconds, Brock Lesnar made Obafemi. Obafemi is one of the biggest stars right now in the WWE because of that segment. It literally only took 60 seconds to make a superstar. And obviously credit to Obafemi because he's a physically imposing guy. He knows his role and he's very talented. So he gets credit here for sure because he lifted up Brock Lesnar effortlessly and he looked fantastic. But the crowd, in just a matter of months, you're already hearing it. You're seeing it in the chat. Oba, 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 Oba. The people love Obafemi because he's a superstar. And Brock Lesnar, say what you want about Brock Lesnar as the human being. You can have that opinion. You could dislike him. You could call him a piece of shit for all I care. That is totally fine. I respect that. But you cannot sit here and tell me that Brock Lesnar isn't good for business. He's good for business. In this segment, 60 seconds, that's all it took to prove why Brock Lesnar still has value in the WWE. Does he have value long term? No. Brock Lesnar doesn't need to be here much longer. He's pretty much done enough. But to the people, and let's once again separate real life from the character. The people that deny Brock Lesnar's value to pro wrestling, beyond idiotic. Beyond idiotic. This dude just made Obafemi in the opening segment of Monday Night Raw. We now have 4 major marquee matches that just pop on the WrestleMania poster. And WWE pays me nothing to talk good about them and nothing to talk bad about them. Go back to a couple episodes ago on Kayfabe Coffee. It'll probably pop up at the end of this episode. I was shitting on the build, but to be fair, nowadays the build doesn't really take into place until after an Elimination Chamber, because now we have extended weeks after, the Elimination Chamber, because they've moved back WrestleMania weekend. It used to be an earlier WrestleMania, now it's later, so there's more time for them to build. So they necessarily don't need to start building until after the Elimination Chamber. Oba has to win. I know Brock doesn't want to lose till the retirement match, but Oba has to win. And there is no other answer than yes. Oba does have to win this match. Now, granted, we have plenty of weeks now to build to this match between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, and I'm sure Brock's going to get his lick back. I'm sure he's going to make Oba look bad for a week or two, but that's okay. As long as Obafemi defeats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, we're sitting pretty. This was the best way you could start Monday Night Raw, in my opinion. I thought it was an A+ segment, and you could let's look at the numbers real quick. We got plenty of time, and once again, I don't care about pacing on this show because it's my show, and we do what we want around here. So let's see the engagement real quick on this Obafemi segment, because I guarantee you it's already shattering numbers. Here we go. 9.3 retweets, 50,000 likes, and over 1 million views just for Obafemi answering the challenge. That is all it took to go viral. The people wanted it. I wanted it. You probably wanted it watching. And we're going to get it now at WrestleMania 42. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. What a start to Monday Night Raw. Thank you, WWE, for finally putting the pedal to the metal, getting me excited. And honestly, I'm going to be totally transparent with you guys, because I always am. I was looking at Ticketmaster yesterday because I saw the promotion that they were 316% off, I think, on 316 day, which shout out to Stone Cold. What? Cheers to you. I'll take a sip of coffee. I'm sure Stone Cold drinks coffee in the morning. I know he drinks beer, but guys, I can't have my coffee go cold. There's nothing worse than warm coffee going cold. I love iced coffee, but it's different when your warm coffee goes cold. If you know, you know. Let me know down in the comments. But once again, fantastic start to Monday Night Raw. Perfect segment. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar is official for WrestleMania 42. What a time to be alive. And to go back to what I was getting at with the marquee matchups. Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan. Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. And Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. Stop your bitching. Seriously, stop your bitching. WrestleMania is looking good. You could be a hater all you want, but this is Kayfabe Coffee, and I'm telling you to stop your bitching now. Now, what do you do with Seth in LA? Do you do a Vision Tag Team title shot? I think they're probably going to do a 3-way title match. And if you checked out my OTM WrestleMania card predictions, I did have Seth and LA teaming up at WrestleMania. And that was on my card. I said Seth and LA team up to take on the Vision in a non-title match. But I think they're going to pivot to a triple threat between the Usos, Seth and LA, and the Vision together. Because there's no other... I don't think Braun Breaker is going to be back in time. That would have been the only answer for Seth Rollins, I think. Well, that and Brock Lesnar, obviously, were options I would believe. But Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker was probably the plan for WrestleMania. Let's be real. Until Braun Breaker had that hernia, things changed. You got to get Seth in LA on the card. And the only way you might be able to do so is by just putting them in a tag team against the Usos. See what I did there? Uso. Good morning, Tino. How you doing this morning, my friend? It's always good to see you as well. Shout out to Tino. He was a big help in helping us get to 300 subscribers over here at the main event. Eric said, I'm still sad Drew lost, but now I see Drew versus Magnus at Mania. Is that what they're doing? Are they going with him and Aldis? I had mentioned that being a possibility as well. Obviously, I think Drew's taking some time off to shoot a movie, right? So that makes sense why he dropped the title. I want to put that out there, too, for the people that might be mad. Drew's going to do shit. And breaking news, Cody Rhodes is the top guy in the company the last time I checked. Don't let the coffee go cold, people. After that, we had a matchup that I thought we were going to get at WrestleMania. Maybe we still are, and there's a stipulation that'll be added for the mask, but El Grande Americano took on the original El Grande Americano in what was a fun match, but I want to go all the way back to AAA this past Saturday. And once again, shout out to the boys over at the Main Event Wrestling Network that they had a Sábado Gigante mixer this past Saturday previewing Rey de Reyes, and it was a great start to Rey de Reyes last Saturday as El Grande Americano started his momentum on Saturday by winning that Fatal 4-Way in what was a fantastic show, guys. If you are not watching AAA, you're missing out. The WWE and AAA relationship has been very beneficial to both, and it's been fun to watch. Jimmy is probably leaving after Mania because Naomi's kid is probably coming soon after Mania. Yeah, you're probably right. The Usos will definitely drop the titles to the Vision. I do not see any other circumstance where the Vision doesn't walk out of WrestleMania with the tag titles. They feel like that's what they got to do because otherwise the Vision has no purpose. Strap them up, give them something to fight for after WrestleMania. But going back to this match and going back to Rey de Reyes, where El Grande Americano had won. And when I say El Grande Americano, I am talking Kaiser. And OG Americano is Chad Gable. Let's put that out there now. But I do think that this still could lead to a masked match at WrestleMania, or maybe even the Raw before WrestleMania. Because I do think Chad Gable's going to have to move on from this because Ludwig Kaiser took the gimmick and ran with it, literally. He's so over in AAA with this gimmick. I don't think Ludwig Kaiser could really leave being El Grande Americano at this time. I think he would lose momentum if he were to ditch this gimmick and go back to being Ludwig Kaiser. So that's, I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to be on the WrestleMania card, but if they had this match in a clear-cut winner here, where El Grande Americano had the plate inside of his mask, OG Americano went for the diving headbutt, and El Grande Americano obviously wins the match because he had that plate in his face because of Tyler Bate. I don't know his stupid gimmick name. I just know it's Tyler Bate. Even though El Grande Americano is working, I hate it for Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, man. Those two are so talented, and them just to be lackeys for El Grande Americano, it's kind of disappointing me, I'm not going to lie. And that's just, once again, the NXT fan in me coming out because I know the potential of Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne in the WWE. But speaking of NXT, I got a lot going on this week. Mr. OTM is going to be doing a lot of content. Like I said, obviously tonight, NXT Night Shift will be live at 9:10 Central, 10 minutes after NXT goes off the air. But I also will be talking NXT with Najee. And if you don't know who Najee is, he's a frequent guest at NXT every single week. He just recently moved back to Las Vegas, so obviously he's not there as much, but he made his return last week in the crowd, and he's been a fixture of NXT. He's got great relationships with people amongst NXT, and I'm going to sit down with him on his show this week, and I think that's going to be released on Thursday on bodyslam.net, and we're going to be recapping NXT this week, which is going to be a phenomenal show. And yeah, I just don't care enough to remember their names. I could remember their names, Rayo and Bravo, I think you're right, but I don't care. I care about El Grande Americano, but I don't care about Rayo and Bravo. I know you can't have one without the other, so it's kind of, you got to deal with it, Mr. OTM. You got to deal with it, but nonetheless, let's go to the marquee matchup of the night. And it was AJ Lee versus Bayley, the Intercontinental Championship on the line. The first title defense, I believe, for AJ Lee as champion. And this is why AJ Lee winning the title is good for business, because now we get to see her have these one-off matches with people that we maybe didn't get to see go one-on-one when AJ Lee was in her prime back in the day. And one of those people was Bayley. I believe the year was 2013. Maybe it was 2014 if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, AJ Lee had come out in an I'm a Hugger t-shirt, making her Divas Championship entrance. So there was roots, there was ties to this potential matchup, and it's pretty cool that we got to see it. I never said I don't care about the New Catch Republic. I said I don't care about Ryo and Bravo. That's completely different. That ain't New Catch Republic. That's Ryo and Bravo. Those are the Goon Squad right there. But nonetheless, back to AJ Lee and Bayley. Just a fun match because it's something we never would have gotten the chance to see unless CM Punk comes back to WWE. Let's be real here. We don't get the AJ Lee run if we don't get the CM Punk run. So I am grateful that we are getting not only CM Punk back in the WWE, which I saw someone on Twitter, X, I still call it Twitter, propose this question that now that CM Punk has been in WWE for the same amount of time, if not more than his time in AEW, what run was better? It was WWE by a mile. I mean, he had good matches in AEW, don't get me wrong, but he's been level-headed in WWE, and he's really elevated people in WWE, and I don't think he did that in AEW. Like I said, had some great matches in AEW, but we wouldn't have got AJ Lee regardless in WWE if it weren't for CM Punk coming back. So shout out to Punk, shout out to AJ Lee, and the fact that we got to see this match is really cool. And like Eric said, they did do something back in NXT, and it was AJ who, in fact, came up with the Hugger gimmick. So that's pretty good. And you're right, Tina. We don't see either of them if CM Punk doesn't come back. And that's why I'm not going to get mad about AJ Lee being the champion. I know some people are frustrated with it because she doesn't connect with them personally, but man, AJ Lee is a legend. There's no other way to slice it. She is a legend. She was one of the top girls, if not the top girl, in a time where the company was not strong. Let's be real. Women's wrestling was treated as a joke. And now that we get to see her face off against some of the modern day legends like Bayley, which again, shout out to Bayley. She had a match against Flammer this past Saturday at AAA Rey de Reyes. So she's been working her ass off too. And another great thing about AAA, guys, you never know who's going to show up from the main roster. So turn on your YouTube on Saturdays or Sunday morning the day after and check out some AAA. Ooh, yeah, good question, Eric. Do you think there's any chance we get a Paige at Mania? I think there is a chance. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to happen, but I think that would be a lot of fun. So hypothetically speaking, it seems like Becky's going to get her rematch against AJ Lee, right? Because we saw Becky Lynch beat down AJ Lee after this match. What if AJ were to get through Becky once again at WrestleMania, which I don't know if that's the smart decision, and then Paige just shows up after the match and confronts AJ Lee, takes the title from her, and similar to the way that she did when she debuted. You just have AJ Lee getting all confident and cocky. We have a deja vu moment at WrestleMania. AJ Lee gives an open challenge after she beats Becky Lynch, and Paige does it again. I don't know if it'd be smart. It'd be fun. It'd be a callback for sure. My coffee's getting cold. That's a problem. That's why I'm starting to drink it a little bit more. Yeah, it probably would make more sense to do the night after WrestleMania. And I think I had mentioned that before on one of the shows, but either or, I think it'd be a lot of fun. But just a good piece of business there between AJ Lee and Bayley. Bayley didn't need to win that matchup. It seems like Bayley and Lyra are going to pivot on back to the tag team titles, if I'm not mistaken. I think they kind of insinuated that in a backstage segment last night, but really solid match. I think AJ Lee looks good. I'm not going to sit here and say she looks great, but for missing almost a decade of in-ring action, I think she looks really good. So shout out to AJ Lee. Shout out to Bayley, doing some great stuff right now in WWE. After that, we got a surprising Intercontinental Championship matchup because Dragon Lee would answer the challenge of Penta. And man, Dragon Lee's been putting on some bangers lately on Monday Night Raw. And having Penta now as your Intercontinental Champion opens up the possibility for having great matches like this every single week because unlike Dominic Mysterio, who was injured and wasn't defending his title, Penta's going to be able to defend that title more frequently because he's a babyface. And we get to see matchups like this where, let's be honest, your Dragon Lee's probably not going to win, but let's go over to AEW. Most of the time, there's a challenger going up against a champion. They're not going to win either. But it's still a really good fucking wrestling match. And I've seen a lot of Dragon Lee slander over the past couple months. And GBH, I'm looking at you. You dog on my boy, Dragon Lee, a little too much. This dude's the real deal. When they say he's the future of Lucha Libre, they ain't bullshitting. You saw that match. That was one of the best matches we have seen on Raw over the past couple months. And that's right, Maddie, Mr. Marijuana. Raw was pretty epic, gang. It was. I enjoyed Monday Night Raw. And I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll get to that a little bit later. I got some shit I got to get done. And that opening segment on Monday Night Raw was hot fire. We had touched on that already because we're almost halfway through the show. But that was definitely the highlight for Monday Night Raw for me. But this was the best match right here on the card. Penta versus Dragon Lee. Really strong free TV matchup. I know nothing's free nowadays, especially with the amount of commercials that we get on Monday Night Raw. It really seemed like last night's Raw had a lot of commercials, but good piece of business regardless, nonetheless, between Penta and Dragon Lee. And I'm interested to see where they go with Penta for his matchup at WrestleMania. I'm not sure if you go ladder match or if you go a multi-man. I don't know. Maybe you get the Luchadors involved. Who knows? Eric says 6-team women's TLC, Irresistible Forces, Kiana and Julia, Bayley and Lyra, Charlotte and Alexa, and a team from NXT and maybe TNA. I don't know, because I think Julia is going to be doing something with Tiffany Stroud. I think we saw that on Friday Night SmackDown. I wouldn't put Julia and Kiana James in that matchup. I don't even think you need to do that many teams. I think it could just be the Irresistible Forces, the Kabuki Warriors, Charlotte and Alexa, and gosh, I'm forgetting a team, aren't I? Damn. I apologize. This is what happens when you do a show by yourself. You forget some things from time to time. A few more things, though, from Monday Night Raw. Let's get to it. Natty defeated Maxine Dupree. I feel like this feud has really been dragging. They need to wrap it up ASAP because we've been kind of seeing the same thing week after week. The crowd is losing interest quick in Natty, I think. And to be honest with you, I've never been a fan of hers personally. I respect Natty and what she's done for the industry, but I can't buy into this character. The promo work is still kind of subpar in my opinion. And I think it's shown when you have these matches and you hear crickets when these two are going at it. Once again, it could just be the fact that they've dragged this feud along. I feel like Maxine really needs something to latch on to after this feud because she actually did have some momentum and some steam on Monday Night Raw. They were building her up a little bit, but what's the direction with Natty now? Natty just can't keep beating Maxine every week. We got to have some substance here. What are we going to do next? Put Natty in a title feud or something because I don't know if it's working, man. I really don't. It's not working for me. That's for sure. I don't need to see another Natty versus Maxine match, but credit to Maxine. She's still improving. She's still looking good. I just don't care for this feud anymore. I feel like they're really stretching this one out. But after that, we had an interesting interview, I guess you would call it, between the man who turned on Cody Rhodes last week on Friday Night SmackDown. Randy Orton has officially gone heel. But Randy Orton was on the phone last night. Interesting. He said there's more than one royal family, obviously. And the first name that popped into my head, and people are going to be annoyed to hear it because even I was annoyed last year hearing this man's name get brought up, but I think it might be The Rock. I think The Rock, the final boss, might be coming back finally. I don't know who else it could be. I don't think it's going to be Cowboy Bob. That does nothing for anything. It's not going to be Ted DiBiase Jr. because he's in jail. So we know it's not going to be Ted DiBiase. Who's on the phone with Randy Orton? I'm asking you guys. Let me know. But I think it might be The Rock. I think that's the only logical explanation there, is that it has to be The Rock. Because whose actual family of Randy Orton, unless it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and they're forming this anti-Cody Rhodes faction? That could be a lot of fun. Natty should go after Rhea if she wants something different or go to Bloodsport. True. True that. Yeah, go after a bigger fish. Make Natty seem important because you're beating up on the smaller fish on Monday Night Raw. It's not going to do anything. And that's what my guess is, Mr. Mary J. Doubt it be Flair or rather Bob. Yeah, I just don't see how the old men enhance that story and make things interesting. It's not for me personally. What's going on, Tom? Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, I did forget about Bayley and Lyra. You know I meant to say them. Jesus, Eric, you love to point out my flaws, don't you? Doubt it would be Triple H. No, there's no way it's going to be Triple H. That wouldn't make sense either. Dave Finlay, no, wouldn't make sense if it was Dave Finlay. He's in AEW. Rock and Randy are both third generation. Hey, yeah, that's why I'm thinking it's The Rock. And we also know that The Rock has ties to Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton did make Cody bleed once again when Cody was wearing all white, and that made me throw back to The Rock when he beat up Cody Rhodes and beat him with Mama Rhodes' belt. Can't have the son, so bring in the dad. Man, I don't. No, it's not going to be one of those old people. What does bringing in Ric Flair or Cowboy Bob Orton do anything to this feud? Absolutely nothing. We don't need to see those old men get involved in this. The money is in Kevin Owens, I think. And it might be a lot of reaching here. You might have to connect a lot of dots to really put it all together. But at the same time, it's not that complex. That there's one simple tie. It's Cody Rhodes. Maybe KO, Randy, and Sammy are just fed up with Cody's shit. And they want Cody to snap. Maybe that's what this is all about. Yeah. That's why I said it earlier. I said Ted DiBiase Jr. is in jail. We ain't going to see him. It ain't going to be RVD, that's for sure. Perry Saturn. I'm not that old, and I wasn't watching old wrestling. I know that's an old name, so I apologize for not understanding that reference. But I know you're newer to the channel, Mr. Marijuana, but I started watching wrestling in 2011. Tino's laughing his ass off over here. Man, my allergies are acting up. A full disclosure, peek behind the curtain, but I got the sniffles today because the fucking weather here keeps going from 60 degrees to 20, and I think it's going to go back up again tomorrow, but it's cold right now. Moppy versus Cody. Speaking of Rob Van Dam, congratulations on the twins. What? He's having kids? At like 50? I don't need to say congrats on that. I just hope the kids are healthy. I'll show you the sniffles. Yeah, I'll get some flour later. It's going to be... I'm actually going on a tea break here shortly, so I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about that whatsoever. That's going to trigger my PTSD right there. Eric said yes. I don't even know what we're saying yes to at this point. The chat's very lively, though, so I appreciate you guys this morning. A few more things to talk about from Monday Night Raw, and then we're going to get the hell out of here because, like I said, I got a lot to do today. Danhausen had another backstage segment. Danhausen's been fantastic. Ever since his debut, every segment has been money. And this segment was money, but it actually started without Danhausen as Kofi Kingston and Javon Evans have been having a little back and forth. Kofi's been trying to get in the ear of Javon Evans, trying to lead him, saying that there's a lot of similarities between the two, which obviously there are. And then Danhausen would come out of nowhere and be like, oh, they need a new member of the New Day. And then New Day's cursed or something like that. I forgot what he said. I apologize. Like I said, there's a lot of wrestling to remember, but I thought Danhausen was absolutely money once again in this segment. You are cursed. That's what he was saying, and he got Grayson Waller, so poor Grayson Waller. Danhausen's been on a cursing spree as of late. That dude is grade A sports entertainment. He just fits the WWE mold so well. And shout out to Danhausen for cursing Grayson Waller, because Grayson Waller hasn't been doing shit as of late. He basically was already cursed. Perry Saturn was in ECW and he did something to piss off the office in WWE, so they stuck him with a mop as his love interest. Oh, that's good to know. If you don't know find out who Moppy is, bro, you are cursed. No, that's not how it works. Welcome to my show, because Mr. Marijuana...
Guess what? You are cursed.
You're cursed. See? I have the powers to do so. One click of the button, I can curse anybody in my chat. You're cursed, Mr. Marijuana. Now you can't even comment. Just kidding. You can comment all you want. But Danhausen's awesome. If you don't like him, you don't like fun. That's all I got to say. Wait, so why didn't Danhausen curse? Didn't work in TNA. Who'd he curse in TNA? He cursed the OG Americano, I thought. He cursed Chad Gable, and Chad Gable didn't win. Right? Yeah, Danhausen cursed Chad Gable. I don't know if he cursed anyone else. He cursed Dom, obviously, but that was only on that day, and it worked on that day when he dropped the IC title. I don't think the curse carries over. I think it's just that day. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he cursed OG Americano. Yeah, he's talking about Dom, I know, but it only works for that day, I believe. Like, it's not going to carry over. At least that's my perception of the cursing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they need to, he did curse The Miz as well. The Miz's curse, Grayson Waller's curse, Dom's curse, OG Americano's curse, Mr. Marijuana's curse. I'm about to curse Eric. You guys keep it up, I'll curse the entire chat. I'll curse the entire network. If you guys don't subscribe, if you don't scan that QR code, I'm cursing everyone. That's what I do. After that, Stephanie Vaquer would defeat Raquel Rodriguez in another good match. Really love Stephanie Vaquer. Obviously, she's one of my favorites on the roster right now, and Raquel's been doing some solid work. Liv tried to get involved, but that wasn't smart because Io Sky has seemed to be picking sides here. She's siding with the good girls on Monday Night Raw, like Stephanie and Rhea. She previously was with Mommy. Now she seems to be siding with Stephanie. I don't know if that means Io is just going to be facing off against Raquel Rodriguez in a singles match at WrestleMania. I don't know how you incorporate stakes into that whatsoever. But man, you need to get Io Sky on the card. I don't know how you do. Maybe she's ringside with Stephanie, but that's boring. Io Sky's way too good to not put on the WrestleMania card. I just don't know if Raquel versus Io with no title is high enough stakes to be put on a Mania card. That's my only thing. But Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan, they're doing a good job building to that matchup right there. The thing with Stephanie Vaquer's reign is she really hasn't had the right adversary, and I feel like finally Liv Morgan is bringing out a different side to Stephanie Vaquer on the main roster. So with all that being said, I think Liv Morgan is going to take that women's championship at WrestleMania. I just think it's going to be Liv's summer, basically, the summer of Liv Morgan. But Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel, they got some pretty good chemistry. And Raquel Rodriguez, even though she didn't win this match, she still has solidified herself as a big-time player on Monday Night Raw going forward. So Stephanie needed to win, obviously, so she's the champ. You gotta make her look as strong as possible going into WrestleMania. But don't be surprised if Liv Morgan does take that title from her at Mania. But after that, the main event segment, Roman Reigns and CM Punk once again go face-to-face. Let me put this out there. Out of all the interactions that they've had so far, I think this was the weakest one. Only because the last time these two were face-to-face, CM Punk cut pretty deep. He said he was going to bury Roman next to his father. And I thought that meant that Roman was going to retaliate and bring up maybe Larry or cut deeper. But I acknowledge my tribal chief. Roman Reigns is my second favorite wrestler of all time. But Roman, you're losing this feud. You're losing these promo battles. Because you can't sit here and say that CM Punk's repeating himself when Roman Reigns every single week is repeating himself. I'm the tribal chief. I'm the head of the table. I main event WrestleMania after WrestleMania. Yes, I know these are facts, but Roman, you're repeating yourself too. So you just tried to call out CM Punk by insulting him in a way that you insulted yourself at the same time. That's one. Number two, your clapback is calling him old? Roman, you're older too. Roman's in his 40s. They're both in their 40s. I'm in my 30s. To me, you're both old. Roman Reigns, it fell flat for me last night. And I know Roman is incredible. Like I said, Roman Reigns is my second favorite wrestler of all time. But CM Punk is the champion for a reason right now. And I don't think there is a reason that he should lose that title at WrestleMania. CM Punk has been carrying Monday Night Raw with that title. He's been carrying himself on the mic, as always. CM Punk always knows how to handle himself on the microphone. This matchup and this promo itself, let's stick with the promo before the matchup at WrestleMania. The promo itself fell flat, like Brett said. This one wasn't as intense. I mean, even the punch at the end, Roman got up before Punk did, after Punk sucker punched him just for calling him old. It fell flat. That's not a knockout punch right now. But then again, not every segment between these two needs to be a home run, guys. Let's also think about this for a second. Because if you have home run after home run, insult after insult, it's just gonna keep escalating, and it might reach a point to where, all right, we've ran out of insults. If you kind of take a step back for a week, at least you'll be able to heat up things once again next week. Maybe I'm just trying to look at it from a positive standpoint, because I thought the main event segment, like Brett said, fell very flat. It doesn't mean that the matchup's going to be bad at WrestleMania, because I'm still looking forward to it. But I just wanted to come out here and call out Roman Reigns, because I don't think Roman has a leg to stand on after that promo. And Roman could easily come back in the next couple of weeks and shred CM Punk on the microphone. And he might just do that. And Roman Reigns might just win at WrestleMania. Might take that title back. But as it stands right here, right now, St. Patrick's Day, I still believe CM Punk should win and defeat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 42. I don't see a good reason why. And if one of you in the chat can give me a good reason why Roman should win, I'm all ears. But to me, it's CM Punk or nothing. I'm going with the best in the world at WrestleMania. But overall, Monday Night Raw was a very, very strong show. Got me really excited for WrestleMania, which, if you're not excited now, check your pulse. I don't know. Don't watch, because I don't know how you can't be excited, because I think their marquee matchups are really marqueeing right now. And they'll start to fill in the card as it goes, but people forget that WWE still has a loaded roster. Having 2 weeks to prepare for a promo to get back to him, bury you next to your father comment is just a bad look. One of the better wrestlers of all time. No doubt. Roman Reigns says it. He thinks he's on the Mount Rushmore. If you're on the Mount Rushmore and you can't come back from somebody saying they're going to bury you next to your father, and all you say is you're old. I don't know, Roman. I acknowledge you. I acknowledge Roman Reigns. Always acknowledge Roman Reigns. I'm putting it on the record. Acknowledged. You lost that promo battle. You're going to lose at WrestleMania because I said so. But like I said, Monday Night Raw, very good show. I would probably give it a B+, A-. One of the stronger Raws of the year. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think the road to WrestleMania is finally hitting a different level. I feel like we're finally getting amped up. We're about a month away now, and we're going to have a lot of content for you guys on the road to WrestleMania. So stick around here at the Main Event Wrestling Network, because it's not just me. There is so much talent on this network. Not one of us is the same. We all have something that brings something different to the table. We talk AEW, we talk WWE, TNA, AAA, the independent wrestling scene. Follow us everywhere so you're not missing any single content. Main Event _net on X, on IG. Hit that subscribe button, because we are now on the road to 400 subscribers, as the Wrestling Junkies podcast would say. Just tell one person, whether you are going out to the grocery store, you're going to the dispensary, the liquor store, running errands, it doesn't matter. Tell one person about what we are doing here at the Main Event Wrestling Network, because we also now have a Twitch account. We're going to have video game content coming very soon. We're getting our ducks in a row, if you will, trying to get situated behind the scenes before we fully launch that, because that's how we roll over here. We don't launch anything until we are fully prepared to give you the best content available for the fans, by the fans here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. But it was fun chatting with you guys this morning. Everybody enjoy the rest of your St. Patrick's Day. Don't forget, I will be back this Thursday with another episode of Kayfabe Coffee, as I will be joined by none other than JPJ, one half of Between Two Beards. It's going to be a great conversation, as we are going to be talking about AEW Dynamite. You don't want to miss that. At Main Event _net is where you're going to find that, and I will catch you guys later on Kayfabe Coffee. See ya.